Hey everyone! Have you ever feel like money is something that you can never quite figure out? No matter how hard you try to save or invest, it feels like there's always someone out there doing it better. Well, I feel that way too, until I read this book, The Psychology of Money by Housel. In today's video, I'm going to share 20 life-changing lessons that totally flipped my understanding of money upside down. Seriously, these insights could completely transform how you see wealth, spending, and financial freedom. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. No one's crazy about money. You might think someone is crazy for how they handle money, but they probably think the same about you. Someone's financial decision makes sense to them based on their personal experiences. Imagine growing up during a financial crash versus growing up during an economic boom, right? It's like living on two different planets. This lesson taught me that there's no right way to handle money. It all depends on your perspective. I used to judge others for being overly cautious or spending wildly, but now I see that everyone's history with money shapes their own behavior. I have a friend who refused to ever use a credit card because her parents had terrible debt. At first, I thought, well, she was overreacting, but now I understand why she's so careful. Our past shapes our financial behaviors in a way we often don't realize. Lesson 2 is luck and risk are two sides of the same coin. You think success is all about skill? Well, think again. This one just blew my mind. Luck plays a massive role in success, and so does risk. Sometimes people end up millionaires simply because they were in the right place at the right time. And others fail despite doing everything right. This makes you rethink all those self-made millionaires. Look at Bill Gates, right? Sure, he's smart, but he was also lucky to have access to a computer in high school when almost no one else did. Imagine if he had gone to a school without computers, right? Would he still be Bill Gates today? Lesson 3 is compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. What if I told you the real secret to wealth building is time? Well, everyone talks about investing, but no one talks about the power of compounding. This is the real secret source to wealth. Even just small amounts invested constantly can grow into massive amounts over time. It's why Warren Buffett made most of his fortune after he turned 60. I used to think that $100 a month couldn't make a difference, right? But after seeing the math behind compounding, I'm obsessed. I started investing small amounts years ago, and now watching it grow feels like magic. Lesson 4 is extreme events-driven success. So if you want to succeed, you only need 1 or 2 huge wins. This was literally a huge light bulb moment, the aha moment. So most financial success comes from a handful of extreme events, like buying the right stock at the right time or starting a business in the perfect market. You don't have to win all the time, just a few times that really big. Let's say Amazon stock was a risky bet like 20 years ago, but imagine if you'd invested then. That one move could have set you up for life. It is not about constant wins, but catching the right opportunity when it comes. Lesson 5. Okay, getting rich is tough, but staying rich is even harder. Anyone can take risks and make big moves to get rich. But once you've made it, keeping that wealth is a whole other game. This lesson opened my eyes to why so many lottery winners go broke. They don't shift their mindset from getting rich to staying rich. I used to think that once I made a lot of money, I'd be set. But after reading this, I realized staying wealthy requires discipline, humanity, and often avoid flash moves. Lesson 6 says, freedom is the ultimate goal of money. What if money wasn't about stuff, but about time? This lesson changed everything for me. The ultimate goal of money isn't fancy cars or giant house. It's freedom. It's being able to control your time and make decisions based on what you want to do, not what you have to do. Well, I used to spend money on things that I thought would make me happy. For example, that I love buying beautiful coffee mugs. plates or even baseball caps. But the reality is I can only drink 2 cups of coffee a day, eat 3 meals, and we're just like one head at a time. Do I really need that much stuff? So now I save for the freedom to travel when I want, to take time off, or even just to relax without worrying about bills. That's the kind of wealth that truly matters. Lesson 7 is save money just for the sake of saving. You don't need a reason to save. Just save. You know how people say, well, save for the rainy day? Well, sometimes the rain is unpredictable. So this lesson taught me that saving isn't always about having a specific goal. It's about having flexibility for when life throws you a curveball. After adopting this mindset, I no longer feel guilty for stashing away extra cash, even if I don't have an immediate need for it. Having savings have given me the peace of mind to face that unexpected life changes without stressing, like moving or career shifts, right? Lesson 8. Pessimism is more seductive than optimism. Well, bad news sells, and it can cost you a lot. Negative news about the economy or stock market always grabs attention. But here's the thing. Over time, the economy has consistently grown. It's easy to be scared of by headlines about market crashes, but staying optimistic and sticking to long-term investments usually wins out. During the 2008 financial crisis, many people pulled out of the market in fear, but those who stayed invested reaped huge rewards in the recovery. This taught me not to get seduced by short-term doom and gloom. Well, I'm not sure it's a good story, but I have a friend who bought some Bitcoin years ago for a ridiculous low price, and then she completely forgot about it. I think we all know how the story ends. Suddenly, almost overnight, she's far beyond financially free. Lesson 9 is true wealth is what you don't see. The real rich people you'd never guess. Flashy cars, designer clothes, and big house may scream rich, but real wealth is often invisible. It's in the form of savings, investments, and financial security, not in material things. I used to think that living in luxurious house meant you had made it. But after reading this, I realized that the wealthiest people often lived frugally, quietly building their financial future. So now I just focus less on what people show and more on what they save. This is why I just gradually embraced a minimalist lifestyle. And even in Canada, I live what some might call a boring life, because the true wealth is what you don't see. Lesson 10. You don't have to be right all the time. Well, perfection is overrated. You just need to win more than you lose. Here's a relevant truth. You don't have to be right all the time to be successful with money. As long as you win enough and limit your losses when you're wrong, you'll come out ahead. The best investors don't make money on every stock. They just make sure their big wins overweight their small losses. This has helped me take more calculated risks without the fear of falling every time. Lesson 11. Control over your money equals to control over your life. If you want to live life on your own terms, you should start by controlling your money. Having control over your money means having control over your choices. It's a difference between being forced to work a job you hate versus choosing to work because you want to. Well, it's a bit embarrassing, but I have to face the fact that for a long time, I just wasn't financially independent. I either relied on my parents or my partner for money, but I can't live like that forever, right? So when I started working towards financial independence and freedom, it was incredibly tough. I had to break old spending habits and learn how to make my own money. Well, even though reaching a level of financial independence allowed me to take time off from work, pursue my passions, and explore new opportunities. That's what financial freedom really looks like. Lesson 12 is the man in the car paradox. Ever wanted to drive a fancy car to impress others? Well, here's the truth no one tells you. We often think that driving an expensive car will make others admire us. But the truth is, people don't admire you. They admire the car. This is called the man in the car paradox. We are all busy imagining ourselves behind the wheel of that luxury car, not thinking about who's actually driving it. One of my family members used to want a sports car because he thought, well, it would make him look successful. It's so cool, right? But now I realize that it's not about how others perceive you. It's about how you feel. True confidence comes from within, not from the car you drive. Lesson 13 is wealth is what you don't spend. The more you spend on luxury items, the less wealth you actually have. True wealth is built by accumulating assets, not by showing off what you've bought. The wealthiest people often don't wear it on their sleeve. Well, I used to feel the need to keep up with fashion trends and buy the latest gadgets when I was in my 20s. But then one year I read a book called The Consumer Society. Hey, Maya. That's my dog. And it hit me. Fashion is a scam. It's a cycle, just a way to push people to consume more. Now I'm more focused on saving and investing, knowing that the less I spend on unnecessary things, the wealthier I'm becoming. Lesson 14. Wealth equals independence, not material possessions. You think wealth is about mansions and yards? It's really about something way more valuable. The ultimate goal of wealth is independence, having the freedom to live your life on your own terms. So it's not about owning the most things. It's about having the power to say no to what you don't want and yes to what truly matters. One of my friends quit her high-paying job to travel the world. At first, I thought, wow, she was crazy for giving up her salary. Well, don't get me wrong. What I mean is traveling the world is amazing, of course. I've even talked about the positive impact travel has on a person in another video. If you're interested, you can click this link. It's just so happened that at that time, I was looking for a job while she quit her high-paying one. But then I realized that is wealth. Having the freedom to make choices based on happiness, not money. So we were just at different stages in life. Lesson 15. Tails drive everything. Ever wonder why a few big wins matter more than a bunch of small successes? In both investing and life, a few outlier events will account for the majority of your success. Like investing in the right company or making a bold career move. You don't need to win all the time. You just need to hit it big occasionally. So think about how Apple and Amazon become trillion-dollar companies. Most startups fail, but a few extreme successes drive the whole economy. This lesson taught me to focus on seizing big opportunities rather than obsessing over daily wins. Lesson 16. Long-term thinking beats short-term urges. Patience is your best financial asset, but it's the hardest one to master. Most people lose money because they cannot control their short-term impulses, whether it's a panic selling during a stock market dip or splurging on something they don't need. Impulsiveness often leads to financial loss. Those who can think long-term and ride out the waves tend to build far more wealth. Well, I used to get nervous whenever the market dipped and thought about selling my investments. But now I realize the value of staying calm and thinking long-term, short-term fluctuations don't matter if you were in it for a big picture. Lesson 17 is avoid the lifestyle inflation trap. This is really an interesting one. So have you ever get a raise and immediately spend it on something new? That's a trap called lifestyle inflation. It's when you spend more money as you start earning more. It's tempting to upgrade your car, your house, or wardrobe when you get a raise. But the more you spend, the harder it becomes to save and build real wealth. So when I got my first big paycheck, I immediately started shopping for a bigger house. And the result is I didn't end up living in a bigger house, and I still have to keep paying off a large mortgage. That's when I realized, wow, the more I spent, the less financial security I had. Now, instead of upgrading my lifestyle, I just upgrade my savings and investment, which literally give me more financial security. Lesson 18, don't chase trends, build consistency. The slow and steady approach beats jumping on trends every time. Chasing the hottest investment trends like cryptocurrency, NFTs, or whatever popular in the moment often lead to financial losses. Instead, consistency, patience, and long-term strategy are what actually build lasting wealth. I remember feeling FOMO when everyone was talking about Bitcoin. I considered jumping in, and I did, but I still decided to stick to my long-term investment strategy with cryptocurrency. Who knows what will happen 10 or 20 years from now, right? Either way, I've decided not to stress too much about the ups and downs of the cryptocurrency market. I will just let it run its course with time. Lesson 19 is nobody is watching you as close as you think. Well, a lot of time we think we are making independent decisions, but in reality, we often make financial decisions based on what we think others will think of us. But the truth is, most people are too busy thinking about themselves to notice what you are doing. Once you realize this, you can make financial decisions based on your needs, not on external pressure. I used to worry about people judging me for driving an old car or not upgrading my phone. But now I realize that no one really cares. This realization really freed me to make better financial choices for myself. Lesson 20. You are not special, and that's a good thing. This might be hard to hear, but you are not special when it comes to money. Many of us like to think that we can beat the system, that we will be the exception when it comes to risky investments or splurging on things we cannot afford. But the reality is the rules of finance apply to all of us, and that's actually a good thing. By accepting this, you can make wiser, more grounded decisions. Well, I used to think I could time the market perfectly or find shortcuts to getting rich. But after learning that, I'm just like everyone else when it comes to financial rules. I've started following time-tested strategies, and it's paying off. Well, there you have it, 20 powerful lessons from the psychology of money that have completely changed the way I think about money, wealth, and financial freedom. Each of these lessons have helped me make smarter financial decisions, and I hope they can do the same for you. Please comment below which lesson resonated with you the most. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!